Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the next installment in our community replay series. And this replay sees FaceFullOfAlienWingWong. That is one of the most ridiculous names I've ever seen, but hey, no harm, no foul. He's playing in the Wickes, the Tier 3 American destroyer, and he's playing some standard battle here on the low-tier map, Big Race. So if you'd like to send a replay into BIA World of Warships, please send it to that, all lowercase, at gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post-game screenshots, a brief description of the battle if you so desire, and then of course if you'd like Spider or myself to do the commentary, you can request for that as well. So yeah, we're just going to call him Alien here because that is quite the mouthful, and it is rather suggestive. I mean, not going to lie, that is... It's quite a ridiculous nickname we got there, but anyway, the Wickes here in World of Warships. I know we really don't feature low-tier gameplay on our channel, but looking at our YouTube analytics, whenever we did have Tier 5 and below gameplay, it really didn't get all that much. So that's why we don't really do it that often. However, this community replay is one that I just couldn't pass up due to the sheer absurdness that you're going to see in this replay. And if I'm not mistaken, in his email, this is the best game that he's had thus far in the Wickes, and I just want to talk about the ship really quickly. Basically, compared to the Samson, the Tier 2 American destroyer, you get a hefty upgrade in torpedoes, while the Samson has 2 double launchers on each side of the ship for a total of 8 torpedoes. Well, this thing gets 2 triple launchers on each side, so you get a total of 12. And these torpedoes are decently performing for Tier 3. They are the shortest ranged torpedoes behind the G101 and the Wakataki, respectively. However, you do have 56 knots and 5.04 kilometers on a torpedo that does 9,900 damage max. However, because it's at Tier 3, and this is the first tier that you're going to be able to face battleships, with the only exception being the Mikasa currently in the game, that premium Tier 2 Japanese battleship, with one full broadside of 6 torpedoes, you can kill Tier 3 battleships in one salvo. But, like I said earlier, you get torpedo tubes on both sides of the ship. And this thing also has decent concealment as well. However, the gun power is pretty lacking. You only get 4 guns on this ship, and you can only get 3 of them to bear at a time, as you saw when he tried to take a punt at that enemy Clemson that was over there. So he does have to be very careful about engaging a Clemson in a gunfight as well, because that thing, of course, upgraded, gets 7 guns to work with, which is a very nice amount. Other stats about the Wickes: it has very good maneuverability for a Tier 3. 34 knots is very, very quick. 520 turning circle radius, which is fantastic, and then of course 2.7 seconds rudder shift time. This is an American destroyer after all, so it is able to maneuver around very, very good. It also has, well, really no AA, but let's be honest, it's a Tier 3 destroyer. There's really not much you should expect in that department. And it also has a very low amount of hit points, only 8,900. This is actually less than the Samson at Tier 2, if I'm not mistaken, which is, again, something that you probably won't necessarily consider. But this ship is very fragile, so it cannot sustain a battering whatsoever, and any enemy cruiser that catches it at close range without its torpedoes ready to be reloaded will be killed extremely quickly. So at this point in the game, it's 250, make that 260 to 420. His team has already lost 3 ships, while the enemy team has only lost 1 cruiser. And really, so far during this game, he's pretty much done nothing. He's had a couple of shells hit one of the destroyers that was back there. But other than that, it's been a very underwhelming start to this game. But trust me, it will get pretty crazy here shortly. He's trying to hunt down the Karlsruhe, the Tier 4 German light cruiser. There's also a pair of St. Louis's over here. And there's also a Kaiser somewhere off along the 7 line at A7. So he's going to smoke up right here, and he's going to use his guns to engage the Karlsruhe. Now, of course, like I mentioned earlier, this thing only has the ability to get 3 guns on a full broadside. However, since this is a low-tier destroyer, the damage, that's what I'm looking for. The damage that you can do to cruisers is pretty decent, simply because most of the cruisers that you face at Tier 4 at least are very lightly armored. When you're shooting at something at Tier 3, they're more protected cruisers with their in real life designation, so they actually have a really good amount of armor. However, something like the Karlsruhe certainly does not whatsoever. He is lining up a torpedo attack here on the guy, but you can see that his hit points are right at 50, so he's going to actually go in here and snag the kill steal. Real sneaky of him right there to pick up his first kill kill of the game, and he's at a very paltry 3,000 damage thus far. But he does have a St. Louis coming around the corner, that Tier 3 American protected cruiser, armored cruiser, whatever you would call it. You can see here he's looking for the torpedo shot. The guy's at 5.8 kilometers, and he is, looks like anyway, that he's going to be moving there through the gap in between the islands. So there's no reason for him to move out of the smoke right now. He still has 37 seconds left, so he's just looking for a nice torpedo strike right here on this guy. And there we go. You can see he drops both of his triple torpedo launchers there, and 6 torpedoes is plenty enough to kill the St. Louis. Granted, that thing does have a very large chunk of hit points for a cruiser, but if those torpedoes land on target, he will kick the bucket. And yeah, looks pretty good right now. The St. Louis doesn't appear to know that his torpedoes are incoming. And you can also see that the Wickes has a fantastic reload. He launched those torpedoes about 20 seconds ago, and he has 15 seconds left for the torpedo tube, so very nice stuff right there. Torpedoes going in on the St. Louis. Does he get the kill? No. He was able to find out torpedoes were coming at the very last second, and he had to turn in to dodge some of those, but it looks like it allows his carrier friend, which it certainly does, to land a torpedo on him, so that guy is flooding. So a little bit of inadvertent teamwork right there by the carrier and Alien here in the Wickes, so very nice stuff right here. You can also see he's looking for some torpedoes to go around the corner at the other St. Louis that's coming around. Unfortunately, as soon as he drops these torpedoes, they are going to be spotted by those aircraft. A little note to self, and something that you really need to understand, is that when an enemy aircraft is detecting you, you cannot afford to launch your torpedoes, or they will, if I'm not mistaken, be spotted the moment that they come out of your torpedo tube. So it's something that you have to be very aware of. So those torpedoes have been spotted the entire time, the entire duration of their travel, and it still looks like that enemy St. Louis is going to run into one of them, miraculously enough. You can see the torpedo goes in, it just barely misses, but it looks like the second set that was sent out will be able to take care of business. The torpedo flies in, and there we go. He picks up his second kill of the game, taking care of that Tier 3 American protected cruiser, and now you can see the utility of the Wickes coming in. This enemy St. Louis, the second one anyway, is making a push around the corner. He is shooting at him with his guns, however, he has to be very, very careful. You can see there, just with AP alone, only 1,800 damage, or I should say only, that's still a significant chunk of his hit points. He does take some HE from the Kaiser, but he manages a almost full health deletion there on the second St. Louis, and you can see the Kaiser is coming around the corner as well, and that's something you just have to be very aware of. These American destroyers at the low tier have the torpedo tubes on both sides, and it actually goes up into some of the mid-tier destroyers as well, with even the Mahan having 3 quad launchers or 3 quintuple launchers, I believe, something like that. But you can see here he's now getting ready to make a dash out of this smoke screen and try to delete the enemy Kaiser, that Tier 4 German battleship. He does move back into his smoke screen so he can get a nice running start right here, which is actually a really nice play. I do enjoy that move that he made right here. He has his port-sided torpedoes ready to go. He's already hit 6 torpedoes thus far on various enemy ships. He does get detected. You can see the Kaiser is only 1.7 kilometers away. He's waiting to drop his torpedoes, and this is the smart play right here. He decides not to drop them while the guy is coming in at him bow on. He wants to wait until he can get into a more favorable position where that guy is going to be unable to dodge any of these torpedoes, and right there, a perfectly played torpedo salvo right there by Alien. 5 more torpedo hits, his second devastating strike of the game, up to 4 kills and 66,000 points of damage. So a very nice job over here on this flank, absolutely eradicating the entire enemy force that was over here and getting his team back in front with a score of 422 to 312. So yeah, that reminded me of my days playing in these ships, and let's be honest with ourselves here. I think it's safe to say that these are amongst the scariest seal clubbers in the game. As long as you have a basic understanding of torpedo range and smoke usage, you can just do some absolutely silly things in these ships. Wickes, Clemson, Nicholas, etc., etc. So at this point, he's now going to make his way towards the enemy cap. You can also see he is putting some interesting stuff into the chat. He is obviously very happy that his team has been able to hold up down there by his base, and he is now going to go in for the kill. You can see the Langley was last detected in the enemy's base, so that is why he is certainly going to continue his movement over here. There's still a few enemy battleships left for the pickin', and 1 enemy destroyer, that G-101, South Carolina, and looks like the Miyogi indeed, and then the Langley. So he still has plenty more opportunity to get some sweet damage and sweet EXP out of this. So he's actually also making a very good veteran play right here. He's using the island, as the Miyogi does take care of the St. Louis, He's using this island right here to move in undetected because it's hard cover and you know, it's keeping him unspotted from those enemy battleships. You can also see that the Langley appeared at 8.1 kilometers just a few seconds ago. So now he has to play this, you know, interesting. He doesn't want to get too awfully close to that enemy aircraft carrier. His detection range is 5.8 kilometers, which is still very, very good. But he has to also be careful about not getting too close to the Miyogi, because if he goes around the corner, that Japanese battleship will indeed detect him. So at this point, it appears he's going to make a move for the enemy aircraft carrier. He pops his speed boost, which is a good play, and hopefully he won't come around the corner 5.8 kilometers or less away from that Miyogi. So that's why he decided to wait and move away from the guy before coming around the corner. So I don't know. This guy seems like a professional SEAL clubber to me. At least he's making some very smart decisions right here. So now he knows that he can get in close to the Langley, who is just sitting there for some reason. I have no idea why low-tier carrier players decide to do that. They just sit, and then once they've been detected for a large amount of time, then they realize, oh, we got to get out of here, guys. I mean, I'm no great carrier player myself. I think I've played 2 games in a Langley. But this is a very interesting decision. Nonetheless, he does get detected 5.6 kilometers away now from that American aircraft carrier, and he is certainly going to go in for the torpedo assault. You can see the Miyogi is still moving away from him, so he played this very, very well. Waited for those battleships to move away, and now he is going to be sitting very, very pretty right here. 4.6 kilometers away, he decides to turn and use his starboard side of torpedoes. So I'm guessing that if that Langley decides to start moving forward, as the friendly Langley takes care of the G101, he's going to have his port side of torpedoes to work with. So once again, another very good play made here by Alien. And you can see that the Langley is indeed moving forward, but because that thing is so darn slow, and his secondaries are starting to shoot at him as well, he does set the fire, and it appears his port side of torpedoes will be able to take care of business. He also is blind shooting at the enemy Langley, leaving his cursor on that guy's last reported position and just clicking the left mouse button as need be, and you can see he continues to land shells on that guy. And he only hits 1 torpedo. Even though the Langley has horrendous acceleration, he still was a bit late in dropping those torpedoes, so he is going to have to potentially gun this guy down. But you can also see that his torpedoes are already reloaded on the starboard side, so he's just going to take the easy way out and take care of business right here. And he should be able to kill this guy with the next torpedo salvo. The Langley's dive bombers do try to come in and kill him, but they both miss, or I guess I should say both. All of the dive bombers, about 5 of them right there, all miss. And there we go. The torpedoes flying in on the Langley, and he picks up High Kraken. High Caliber gets his 3rd devastating strike and picks up Kraken Unleashed. Oh boy. I hope you guys don't roast me too hard for that. High Kraken. I wonder what a High Kraken would be. Anyway, he's now going to try to finish off the game in style here on this almost full health South Carolina, who's only 3 kilometers away. He's dropping his port side of torpedoes right here. He's waiting to see what this guy is going to do. He is appearing to continue his turn to port a little bit. Now he's going to get his gun shooting. Does set a fire on the very first salvo. Very nice right there. You can also see that the friendly Langley is waiting to swoop in as the South Carolina immediately uses his damage control. And he's now turning himself to port, but it appears that he is not paying enough attention, and he is going to indeed run around. You can see he uses his 2 rear turrets. He manages to land 2 shells, though, from that 2nd turret salvo on Alien right here. But, of course, since he grounded, the Langley is going to be able to hit him quite a few times. It doesn't appear that he set him or set a flood at all. So now with the starboard side of torpedoes, Alien is going to swoop in for the kill here, and very shortly he will be able to finish off the game in style. The dive bombers do come in, reduce him to about 7,000 hit points, and then Alien finishes off the job. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 266,000 credits received and just under 7,000 total EXP earned. He picked up Kraken, 3 devastating strikes, and a high caliber off of 109,000 points of damage dealt. 36 target hits with the shells, 16 torpedo hits with those metal fish, so a very, very nice count right there. He sent 6 or half of the enemy team to the bottom of the ocean, set them on fire 3 times with the guns, and caused 9 floodings. Taking a look now at the team score, 1,317 base EXP. Anytime tier 4 and below you get a 1K plus base EXP game, you were doing some massive work right there. And also a shout out to the Langley, who it appears had a pretty decent game as well with 21 planes shot down. Taking a look now at the detailed report, 94,000 points of the damage dealt. was with the Torpedoes, 54 launched and 16 hit. So a very nice hit ratio there in that game, and just showing you what American low-tier destroyers can do when you have a competent captain behind the helm of those destroyers. So with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this replay. If you want to see more low-tier gameplay, please let us know in the comment section below. And also consider giving the video a like and possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. So with that being said, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms, World of Warships signing off. Have a fantastic day.